Oops, I'm on. Good morning. Okay, now remember, we're going to be singing today, so we need to warm up our voices. Let's do that one more time. Good morning. Hey, all right. We've had people come in today we haven't seen in a while for the joy of singing together. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Chris George, a member of the Board of Trustees. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm just so glad you're all here today. Longtime members, new visitors alike, you are welcome here. Whether you are joining us for the first time or a longtime attendee, you're all welcome. Whether you're online or here in the sanctuary, you are all welcome. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders, and love is the power that binds us together. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. You are welcome just as you are. If this is your first time with us, a special welcome. I'm so glad you found your way to our community. After the service, I will be in the back of the sanctuary, back in that corner, right over there, to answer any questions you might have about our congregation or Unitarian Universalism. And if you want to chat with other people in the congregation, grab a red mug over there, and that's our signal that you're looking for people to come approach you and talk. For those of you in the sanctuary, we have hearing assistance devices on that table back there. Help yourself, and also large print hymnals, although our lyrics will be broadcast up here. Our online chat chaplain will help guide our online folks, and for those of you on site, the screen behind us. You can also follow along most Sundays with a printed order of service, but not today. You can find information on our website, tahomauu.com. Please be sure to read the weekly e-news for important information about our congregation, upcoming events, and volunteer opportunities. If you aren't signed up and want to be, you can do that today. There is so much happening here. I want to highlight just a few announcements. General Assembly is coming up. It will be all virtual online this year. If you would like to be one of our congregation's delegates, please reach out to Chrissy at board@TahomaUU. There will be a very important vote on Article 2 and some amendments. If you would like to be a delegate but would need a scholarship to attend General Assembly, please let Chrissy know when you reach out to her. The board has set aside some funding for this if it's needed. Reverend Crystal continues to work on her health. She's hoping to return on July 1 with a modified schedule and will work back to her 20 hours per week. She will update us again at the beginning of June on her progress. Our annual congregational meeting will be on June 9 after the worship service. We are excited to be able to share financial reports for the first time in a number of years. If the link to the folder is not working for you, please be sure to let Chrissy know. For our meeting, we must have a quorum in order to conduct business, so please be sure to attend either here or online. All members in good standing can vote. This means folks who have signed the membership book, submitted a pledge form or a waiver, and are making pledge payments. Thanks to the nominating committee, we have a full slate of BOT nominations to vote on in our meeting. Yay! Scott Redmond will be running for president, a one-year term. Remy with an I, who's in the sound booth. Remy Tallow, Ben Holquist, and Andrea Frickleton. Is Andrea here?
Downstairs.
She's downstairs. She's right. Thank you, Andrea Frickleton for a 3-year terms and Dave Hackett for a 2-year term. So yay, thank them in advance for their willingness to serve in this way. Lauren, administrator, had a personal emergency and needed to fly home this weekend. She will return on Tuesday. Pledge drive update. Where is he? There he is. How could I miss him?
Good morning, everybody. My name's David Pettit, and I am serving on the Pledge Committee. Some of you may have noticed, and the rest of you will notice now, that that little red line we marked last week has advanced. We're at about 47% of our goal right now. Now, with Lauren out of the office for a few days, that doesn't include anything that's come in the last few days. We'll have another update next week for sure. I really like the idea of the bridge, and I was thinking about this last week. You know, that first 10% is on an uphill to get up to the top of the column. It took us a week and a half, 2 weeks to start getting a first few pledges coming in. And once they did, it was kind of downhill to about 50%. Then they started coming in on a real regular basis. But like most pledge drives, the next leg is another uphill. We need a push to get back up to at least 90%. At 90%, then it goes downhill. People start saying, well, that's just a little bit more. I'll give a little bit more. And we make that 100%. So I'm encouraging you, if you have not pledged yet, and bear in mind too, that the budget has to be developed at the board meeting in about 10 days. That's when they're going to sit down and say, this is what we have to work with and develop that budget. So I encourage you again, make that pledge if you haven't already. If you have, make sure you stop at one of the little tables in the back of the hallway there and get your little I pledged tag to go on there. That lets everybody know and kind of gives another little bit of encouragement for the rest of us. So thank you very much. We'll talk with you later.
All righty. Again, you can check the e-news for more information on these and other ways to become more involved. You are also invited to join us for social hour immediately following the service. We already talked about the red mugs. Everybody remember the red mugs? We'll come to you if you're holding a red mug. Patty has a brief announcement.
Very quickly, I want to thank the crew that came last week. There were about 8 of us. I want to thank Lauren and her husband, Jacob, Sheila, Pam, myself, and Ben, and Georgia came for a little while. Thank you all. We should be able to have the system up and running within the next 2 weeks. Thank you.
And thank you for your leadership, Patty. She's the one that allows us to have these fabulous art displays. As we begin our service, I respectfully acknowledge that I speak to you today from the land of the Coast Salish people, including the Puyallup tribal nation, land from which they were forcibly displaced. I affirm the continued sovereignty of the 574 federally recognized tribes, including the 29 here in Washington, and support those still fighting for federal recognition. I acknowledge the theft, violence, trauma, and racism that Indigenous people have experienced at the hands of colonizers from 1492 through the present day. I honor the resiliency of the Indigenous people and stand with them as they continue to fight for land, water, visibility, sovereignty, and their very existence. Lastly, friends, I invite you to set your electronic devices to worship mode. We are gathered here, one community together. Let us settle ourselves into this holy moment and open our hearts to learn and unlearn, to share and to receive. Now, let us join together in worship.
morning. Give me just a minute because I was using electronic device and my file closed. And now it's not cooperating, so I'm gonna pull it up on my phone here instead of the laptop I'll fix that while we sing. All right, this was in Docs. You know, electronics are great when they work. Readings, there we are. So, our service this morning is a little bit different. It is going to be full of songs. Thank you to all of you who voted online for your favorite hymns. So those are what we're going to be singing this week. The sermon is interwoven throughout the song, so rather than having a section for a sermon, there's going to be a little talk before each song. All of those words and thoughts are pulled from a website called Notes from the Fringe. If you have not seen Notes from the Fringe, you need to go there. And it was created by a UU minister, Kimberly DeBus. I think that's how you say their name. And so she wrote like little blogs for every single hymn in both our blue and our teal hymnal, or our gray and our teal hymnal. And they're just her musings. It took her about a year to do it. And so I will share some of them with you today as we go through. And a special shout out to Sheila, our song leader today, and Marianne, because we're putting them to extra work this morning. So our first song that we're going to sing is number 346, Come Sing a Song With Me. It's in the gray hymnal. And this is what Reverend Kimberly has to say about this song. She's reflecting and says, on December 17th, 1984, my father died. I was barely 20 and made any number of bad choices about how I dealt with his loss, including not really processing it as well as I should have. But I always remember how beautiful and meaningful it was that whoever designed the graveside service had us put roses on his casket. Mom, a red rose, and my siblings and I, white roses. Fast forward to 2006. December 17th fell on a Sunday, so I signed up to bring the flowers. I ordered an arrangement that included 3 white roses and a red rose in honor of my father. The sermon was, not surprisingly, about hope, and this song was the closing hymn, the impact of which did not for a second occur to me until we started singing. Not in a lively style, but in a more contemplative tempo and mode. The way we sang it gave us a little time to think about what we were singing. I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the wintertime. Cue Waterworks. Because I started thinking about my father, not in terms of all the things I never got to do with him or know about him, which was my usual form of mourning him, but about all the things I did get to experience and learn about him. I actually grieved for the man I knew and not the man I wish I had known. Singing this song on that day, I lost my mic. Okay, it's the speakers, not the mic. So I'm going to back up a little so I don't drown out the people online. I actually grieve for the man I knew, not that man I wish I could have known. Singing this song on that day with that bouquet 10 feet away from me allowed me to grieve again in a healthy way. And although I didn't know it at the time, helped make mourning my mother's death a year later a little easier. I can't sing this song without that experience. So join me in singing hymn number, let me scroll back up to the top, 346, Come Sing a Song With Me, rise in body or spirit as you are able. Come sing a song with me. Come sing
excited to invite Barb to light our chalice this morning. She is here today with her covenant group of 14 years. We are ready. Wonderful. And now, if you'll please join with me in reading our words. We light this chalice in deep respect for the mystery and holiness of life, in honor and gratitude for those who have gone before, with love and compassion for those who dwell among us, and with hope and faith for the generations to come. Thank you.
All right, and that brings us to our opening hymn. How am I doing in the back? Can you all hear me? No, okay. Yeah, the speakers aren't working, so I'm gonna back up because they can hear me on Zoom and I don't wanna drown out their ears, but I'm gonna project even more. How's that in the back? Better? All right, so our next hymn, our opening hymn is number 38, Morning Has Broken. And again, I'm going to turn to Reverend Kimberly from Notes from the Fringe for her thoughts. And although this was written, this particular blog post was written in 2016, it still feels quite relevant today. If you remember 2016 and you look at where we are, still feels very relevant. Reverend Kimberly says, "It is, for me and millions of us, dark days, hard mornings. As one colleague said on Facebook, I go to sleep and all is well, and then I wake up, remember, and I cry. For those folks shocked at the election results and scared of what might happen if attitudes expressed in the campaign come to fruition, these are hard days. As we deal with a deep sense of foreboding and struggle to find a path forward." The sermon kind of writes itself, doesn't it? Always dark before the dawn, one day at a time, tomorrow is another day, etc. And the truth is, I'm not ready to write that sermon yet, or even that blog post. I'm not ready for the recreation of a new day. I'm not ready to praise much of anything. I think that's okay. If I were to bypass my own emotional process, I would be doing neither me nor anyone else any good. But what I suspect the next few hymns will do for me, and maybe for you too, is hold open the door for when I'm ready to walk through it. Some little musical reminders that life calls on us, that the world is forever turning, and that we are still here. Anyway, be good to yourself these days. Do the next right thing, hold space, love. So join me in hymn number 38 in the gray hymnal, Morning Has Broken. Please rise in body or spirit as you are able.
Praise God.
right, so now I would like to invite the children forward. So young and young at heart, please come on up to the front with me. This is my favorite part of being the worship leader. Good morning. So lovely to see you all. Look, we have more friends coming. I know, isn't this wonderful? Hopefully y'all can still hear me in the back. It's harder down here. I'll keep trying. So, one of the, I think, most amazing things about growing up in a Unitarian Universalist congregation is going to cons and camps. So as you get to middle school and then high school, there are lots of opportunities for you to get together with UUs from all over this state, all over this country, and come together for a weekend of fellowship. Well, fellowship is a fancy word. Anybody know what that means? Yeah, what? Yeah, people coming together to do something, hanging out. Yeah. Say that again? Going into space? Yeah. That would be kind of cool to be in fellowship in space, wouldn't it? So one of the songs they sing a lot at the cons and at the camps, usually before folks eat, is this song called We Give Thanks. And I thought it might be good to, maybe some of you know it, but maybe some of you don't, and we could learn this song together. And what's interesting for those of you in the back who do know this song is that the song in our hymnal isn't the whole song. Wait, what happened? Why is the one in our hymnal not the whole song? Did it wander off? Maybe it got lost. But, ooh, I'm back. Sorry. That was loud. Oh, I was trying to project for the folks in the back. But Reverend Kimberly, who I've been talking about this whole service, she's one of my sheroes, she decided she wanted to use this song, but it wasn't quite long enough. And so she reached out to the composer of this song and said, hey, do you have any more verses? And guess what? There was another verse. And we're going to learn it today. So sometimes you don't know what's out there if you don't ask. Yeah, so don't be afraid to ask, because maybe you'll find an extra verse. All right, we're going to do this song a little bit different. It's actually the way it's meant to be sung. It's a call and response. So what's going to happen is the grown-ups in the back are going to sing the words, and then we're going to sing exactly what they sung, the way they sung it. Got it? Got it. So this is number 1010 in the teal hymnal. The words are going to be behind me if you want to check it out. We're going to sing this first verse, and then we're going to sing the new verse, and then we're going to go back to this first verse. Got it? All right. And up here, we're going to sing right after them. Give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks we grow and live. Oh, we give thanks for the old and young. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. That was lovely. All right, so we are going to sing you out. The grown-ups are going to form an arch, and you're going to sing you downstairs to your wonderful RE class.
Good morning, all. This is Scott, encouraging you to be generous. Give either by clicking as shown on screen or filling the baskets that are coming around. And because we're in the midst of our pledge drive, there's another way. Go find one of those pledge forms and fill it out. Just open your hearts to generosity. Thank you all.
Before we dedicate this offering, I just want to make a mention. We do have two other baskets up here, one for safe parking and one for our trans relocation project. If you'd like to make a donation to either of those, that would be Much appreciated. And now if you'll join me in reading in the dedication for our offering. We dedicate ourselves and our offerings to the work of this congregation, weaving a tapestry of love we call community, both within and beyond these walls.
Sorry, I went to sleep. We took too long singing that gorgeous song of Mary Ann's. She always knows the perfect pieces to plop in there for the service. It's quite a gift. All right, for our next song, we're going to do number 108, My Life Flows On, an Endless Song. Switch for me. Okay, we'll do it this way. Again, from Reverend Kimberly, Notes from the Fringe. This is one of those cases where, given the times in which we live and the still unbelievable event about to happen on Friday, the inauguration of Donald Trump, all I can do is let the lyrics of this beautiful song of joy and resistance speak for themselves. This song has shaken me to my core with its undeniable truths and hope-filled demands. Please sing and cry with me today. I should note, as Jackie James points out in between the lines, the third verse was written during the McCarthy era to protest that round of paranoia and fear, and it seems especially appropriate right now. And those are the end of her words, and I would say, and it still feels so appropriate right now. So please join in body or spirit for hymn number 108 in the gray hymnal, My Life Flows On, an Endless Song.
That
So, this is the time when we would usually have the sermon, but what we have is 2 bonus songs. Woo! So our next song is Let It Be a Dance, and this is number 311 in the Gray Hymnal. And, well, let me read from Reverend Kimberly first. The first rule of Let It Be a Dance is that it is mostly a spoken word folk song. The second rule of Let It Be a Dance is that it is mostly a spoken word folk song. The third rule of Let It Be a Dance is that if you're going to use it, it's really best done on guitar with a folk musician who knows what they're doing. I know we have a melody transcribed and a piano accompaniment written, and yes, it's a good thing we have preserved this song in our living tradition. Rick Marston captures something amazing in his lyrics, combining the joy of humanity with the sage wisdom of Ecclesiastes 3. I love the language, and the chorus is easy to pick up, as good folk choruses are. And that's the end of her words. And what I'm going to tell you is that there is a YouTube video of Rick playing his guitar and singing his song as a spoken word folk song. And so it's going to be a little different than we usually sing it. We're going to have the video up on the screen. For those of you online, Scott's going to paste the words in the chat for you. For those of you here, you will need your hymnal for this to sing along. So do pull it out, and please rise in body or spirit for number 311, Let It Be a Dance.
Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. In case some of you kids don't know it, we'll do it one more time. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance, let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. And let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, fill the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed, and let it be a dance, let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance, everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend, and like a willow with the wind, let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. Time for joy, time to cry. So take it as it passes by, and let it be a dance, let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. The morning star comes out at night. Without the dark, there could be no light. And if nothing's wrong, then nothing's right. So let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Let the sun shine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain. Round and round We go again. So let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance once more for the mountains. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance we do. Kid concert over. Thank you.
So a little something old, a little something new. That's kind of a fun version of it. Our next bonus is the only one that I've included in the worship service today that didn't have any votes for it in our, yes, sorry. Yes, I took executive power as the planner of this worship service. But this song is one that there was a survey done by the UUA of favorite hymns across the country, and this is one in the top 10 that we don't really sing, or at least not very often. Patty tells me we've sung it from time to time. I don't remember ever singing it here, and it's quite a lovely little song. It's number 391, Voice Small and Still. So I thought it would be good to try this, and maybe we'll find a new favorite. And let me turn to, again, Reverend Kimberly, who says, I'm sitting with colleagues at White Eagle Conference Center near Hamilton, New York, with 22 colleagues retreating together. What strikes me about moments like this is how apart from time, yet completely in the stream of time, we are at these things. In the midst of programming last night, I learned a young neighbor died. I don't have a ministerial responsibility there, but I do have a responsibility as a neighbor. And then comes along this song, which I sang with the amazing Lynn Gardner and Wendy Bartell last night, a prayer of deepening that, along with these friends, holds me in loving arms. Our hymn was written by John Coronado, who was our lyricist way back in the first week. I should note that the original lyric used the phrase, in dark and rain. Our hymnal commission wisely changed it to in storm and rain, which I think works better anyway. This hymn speaks deeply to me right now as I process the news from a distance. It's hard, but a song like this, which holds complexity so beautifully, offers solace and comfort. Grateful for this space, grateful for this place, grateful for these friends and colleagues, and grateful for this song. So please join me in rising in body and spirit as we sing number 391, Voice Small and Still. Isn't that lovely? Yeah. Oh, maybe there is. And I'm not up here. You are.
It's okay. All right. So this moment allows us to reflect on today's service, the readings, hymns, fellowship with others, the wisdom that has risen from deep within ourselves in order to set an intention to carry forward, something that speaks to you into the week ahead. There is space on the back of the order of service, which isn't here today, for those of you who like to write, or you can silently reflect.
That brings us to our closing hymn. What do you think it might be, friends? You would be correct. Blue Boat Home received the most votes by far of any of the other choices. All right. So again, I will turn to the words of Reverend Kimberly. She says, she's talking about at General Assembly. On Friday morning, we sang Blue Boat Home. Friend and colleague Hannah Roberts made a comment to her friend Meredith Lukow, who tweeted, "Blue Boat Home is like the free bird of Unitarian Universalism." And then Reverend Kimberly goes on to say, because like Freebird by Leonard Skinner, it is a popular song that people long to hear, often request, and react to in kind of a rock anthem awe. The joke spreads like wildfire, being retweeted and remarked upon throughout the day. On Sunday morning, Reverend Bill Schultz preached about the earth and its inhabitants, and as he finished, to great applause, the band began playing this song, to which Twitter and more than a few voices in the room shouted, "Freebird!" And more than a few hands in the room held up their hands as though to hold up a lighter. It was hysterically transcendent, which is not surprising because it is a beautifully transcendent song. Peter Mayer wrote these gorgeous lyrics to the gorgeous Heifrindal tune, but he also recast the tune a bit. It's still in the same meter, 3/4, but guitar strums tuned to piano notation makes it feel more like 6/8, which makes it feel as though the rolling and pulsing ocean itself is in the song. He also extends the final phrase, giving space and room for blue boat home to breathe and fill us with wonder. Really, there is nothing bad to say about this one, except that maybe we can't use it all the time. Mayer gorgeously captures the awe and wonder of our first source and the amazing planetary grounding of our seventh principle, along with mysticism and humanism and gratitude. Really, what a gorgeous song. Please rise in body or spirit. This one is in the Heel Hymnal, the Heel Hymnal. The Teal Hymnal, it is number 1064. What a song. Patty just shared with me that during COVID, Reverend Linda, who was our minister at the time, interviewed the composer for us here live. Live on Zoom. It's live, right? Live enough. All right. So that brings us, sorry, I have multiple things I'm juggling. I'm used to having a paper copy, and so I'm adapting. That brings us to our closing words. You know, it was really interesting putting this service together. I reached out to Scott saying I wanted to do this type of service. And the closing words are the only words that are really mine. The rest I borrowed from Reverend Kimberly because I thought that that was such a neat website. So I encourage you all to go check out Notes from the Fringe. But for closing words, I really wanted to just reflect a moment on singing as a spiritual practice. You know, I grew up Pentecostal with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, right? And over years, I've redefined my faith. It's changed and developed. I consider myself more of a humanist now. But when we sing here together, I still get that feeling that I remember from my youth of being in community together and singing. That's when I feel most connected to the mystery and holiness of life. And so thank you all for singing with me today, and for being willing to go along on this journey with me.
All right. No. All right, in just a moment. There we go. All right, if you'll join with me in reading our extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now, if you will rise in body or spirit for our closing song.